3 more commercial vessels have come under attack in the Strait of Hormuz. The UK Maritime Trade Operations says they were hit by unknown projectiles, with one Thai-registered ship catching fire. The Mayuree Naree was reportedly hit while transiting the waterway just north of Oman. Royal Thai Navy says it is providing urgent assistance to search for 3 crew members missing. 20 others have been rescued by the Oman Navy. No casualties were reported for 2 additional ships targeted near United Arab Emirates. One sailing under the Japanese flag sustained minor damages. The 3rd vessel was hit northwest of Dubai. Washington says it hit 16 Iranian mine-laying vessels near the strategic waterway. The war has continued to paralyze shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, choking off vital Middle East oil and gas flows. And no let-up in attacks across Gulf nations. Tehran says it fired missiles at the U.S. military base in Kuwait, while Saudi Arabia reported destroying 6 Iranian drones. The UN Security Council is due to vote on a draft resolution aiming to cease all hostilities in the region. But Israel's defense minister says the war on Iran will continue without any time limit. And Jagruti Dave is covering this story for CNA live from Washington, D.C. Jagruti, we're hearing some concerns that U.S. lawmakers are also worried that President Trump could put boots on the ground in Iran. How seriously is that option being considered?
Well, Angela, these are concerns that have been voiced by Democratic lawmakers following a briefing, a classified briefing of the Senate Armed Services Committee. And some of these Democrats came out of there with concerns that the US was considering putting boots on the ground. And this is of particular concern because intelligence suggests that the Russians are providing targeting intelligence to the Iranians to allow them to target US ships and bases. Now, US President Donald Trump, whilst he has not ruled out sending US ground troops, he did tell the New York Post in an interview that decision was that they were nowhere near yet coming to that decision. There's a New York Times report that indicates that the Iranians could be trying to retrieve uranium buried underground at Isfahan, and that US ground troops could be sent there to protect that uranium under the ground. But Donald Trump said that no decision has been made on that yet, despite multiple media outlets reporting that that was under active consideration. Now, there are several things that are going to be focusing the mind when it comes to putting US troops on the ground. Of course, those reports of the Russians providing intelligence, but also reports that, well, first of all, we know that there are deaths of 7 service members that have already taken place, and that putting more boots on the ground increases the risks to US troops. But also, the Iranian foreign minister is saying that they are prepared to continue fighting to defend themselves for as long as it takes. No signs of let up from the Iranians. One final thing I'll leave you with in terms of focusing on the mind about whether or not to send US troops into the ground in Iran is recent polling. Not only does the latest Quinnipiac poll suggest that a majority of Americans oppose the US's attack on Iran, but 74% of voters oppose sending US ground troops into Iran. So these are some of the considerations clearly underway. But yes, concerns from Democratic lawmakers that such a decision potentially could be made.
Right. Jagruti, thank you so much for that update. That was Jagruti Dave covering this story for CNA live from Washington, D.C.